Alright, so today is Friday, June 14th. And this video entry is really an extension of the previous entry when I was talking about the Black Standard and the different Black experiences that we all have in America as Black people. And I am out in the park. It's a lot of mosquitoes. A lot of bugs. You'll see me turning, looking behind, because it's a lot of woods behind me and it's noise going on in the woods. I'm gonna try to keep this real short. The only reason I didn't add this to the last video is because I didn't want the video to be too long. It was already like 30 plus minutes long, but I'm gonna keep this short because mosquitoes flying in my mouth, and my eyes, and my nose. I mainly want to talk about the difference. It's a lot of creatures out here in the woods. I am in Georgia, you know, and it's nothing but creatures. The difference between Black Americans and Africans, and this is another conversation that needs to be had. And that's why when I speak of Black people, I like to specify and clarify that I'm speaking specifically about Black Americans and not Caribbeans and not Africans. And the reason why when I speak of Black people, I'm speaking specifically of Black Americans is because Africans and Caribbeans do not have the same culture and traditions as us Black Americans. And that's the thing, you know, I feel like a lot of Africans and Caribbean, well, foreigners in general, you know, they come to America and some of them want to strip themselves of their culture from their country, you know. They change their name because they feel like their name is too hard to pronounce, it's too African, it's too Asian, it's too whatever. You know, they want an American name. They want to live like an American because they're in America, and I can understand they want to fit in. And that goes back to what I was saying about every Black person in America having a different Black experience, okay? Because all Black people, like I said in the previous entry, are not the same. And a lot of Africans, you know, they have a different lifestyle, different economical tax bracket than us Black Americans. You know, a lot of Africans, they are very well educated. They have bachelor's degrees, masters, PhDs. A lot of them are, you know, they have doctorates. They're lawyers, doctors, college professors, you know. So that goes back to what I was saying about, I mean, some live and grew up in the hood. Some Africans do. But a lot of them, their parents are very well educated and they live very nicely and very wealthy, just like the rich Black people that I was talking about in Atlanta, you know? And that's why as Africans, you can't compare yourself to us Black Americans, you know? Number one, us Black Americans are not immigrants and we're not foreigners in this country. We're born and raised in this country. Our whole entire lineage is American, you know, and I don't even want to get into the whole slave trade and, you know, well, Black Americans, really, your ancestors are from Africa, you know, because number one, that is honestly a myth. That no one has proven that all Black people in America came from Africa. That has not been proven at all. Prove it. Prove it. Second of all, if you're born in America, your parents are born in America, born and raised in America, grandparents and great-grandparents born and raised in America, that's 4 generations. So even if the slave trade actually happened and it's true, does it really matter after 4 generations of your family being born and raised in the United States of America? When that's all you know is America and American culture. You see what I'm saying? Um, and a lot of people say, well, black people in America, y'all don't know where you come from and you don't know your ancestry. We do know where we come from. We know where we don't come from, and that's Africa. If we've been born and raised in America, our parents, grandparents, and great grandparents were born and raised in America, and all we know is the American way of life and American culture. What lineage and connection do we have to Africa? None at all, you know? And that's why, as black people in America, we need to stop calling ourselves African American. Because if you're one of your parents or you are not born in Africa and came to America, you're not an African American. You're an American. I'm American. Everybody in my family was born and raised in the United States of America. Myself, my parents, my grandparents, and my great grandparents. That's already 4 generations. Born and raised in America. Everyone in my family are natural born American citizens, okay? No one in my family had to apply for citizenship to be in this country. No one had to get a green card. No one had to get a visa. We're all natural born Americans, born in North Carolina, born and raised, and that is where we're from. We're not immigrants. And that's what Africans need to understand when they come to this country. Even though we may look the same, and that's why we have to stop putting ourselves under this umbrella of black, because it doesn't define anything. It doesn't specify our nationality. You see what I'm saying? Even in Africa, most Africans, 90% of Africans, guess what? They don't consider themselves black. Black Americans, we're the only dumbasses that call ourselves a color. Black is a color, it's not a nationality, okay? Africans and other people of the world identify themselves by their nationality. A person from Nigeria will say, I am a Nigerian, not I'm black. A person from Senegal will say, I am Senegalese. A person from Ethiopia will say, I am Ethiopian. A person from Somalia will say, I am Somalian. And that's why it's so important to identify yourself by your nationality instead of just black. Because black can encompass Africa, Black American, Caribbean, and those are all different nations and nationalities with different cultures. We all have different cultures. That's why we have no connection to Africa, because we have know nothing at all about African culture when all of our family and lineage has been born and raised in America. Us, our parents, our grandparents, and great grandparents.
We call ourselves abantu bomgquba. Now, umgquba does not mean black. We call ourselves abantu bomthonyama. Umthonyama does not mean black. We call ourselves bana batari. Tari does not mean black. We call ourselves bekethu. Bekethu does not mean black. We have always called ourselves by what we called ourselves. SingamaXhosa, Rebapedi, Mavenda, Mashangani. We never called ourselves by color.
We don't speak the African languages. We don't belong to any of those tribes in Africa. We don't practice any of those traditions and customs like in Africa, you know? Just like someone from the Caribbean that comes to America. You may call yourself black and want to fit in with black Americans, but we have different culture as black Americans as opposed to Caribbeans. Just like we have different culture from Africans. And, I'm not to say there's anything wrong with Africa. There's nothing wrong with being from Africa, but as Black Americans, we can't identify and relate with Africa because we're not from there. If we go to Africa right now and try to claim, yeah, well, I'm an African American, and they're going to say, well, where are you from? America. What about your parents? America. What about your grandparents and great grandparents? America. Okay, well, you're an American. You're not an African. We're Americans. A lot of Africans, some, I don't want to group everyone together. Like I said, they come to America and they want to change their name. I met an African guy, I knew an African guy in high school, and he was actually ashamed of his nationality and his ancestry. He said, I don't want anybody to know that I'm African. But you could look at him and tell and hear his accent. So that's my message, to foreigners and Africans. When you come to this country, never be ashamed to be who you are. If your first name is 22 letters long and sound like, whatever, then that's your name. Someone told me 10 years ago that I need to change my name because I'll never be able to get a job in America with the last name Muhammad. And that was before I even started wearing hijab, before I even thought of becoming an actress. But I refused to because Jehan Muhammad is the name I was born with. That's been my name my whole entire life. That's the name my mother named me. Never be ashamed of who you are and where you're from, And the only reason why I can identify with a lot of Africans, I find myself being able to identify with Africans a lot better than I can Black Americans, even though I'm Black American and I'm not African. The reason why is because a lot of countries, some countries in Africa, when you meet Black Muslims, not from America, most Black Muslims are from Africa. Countries like, some Nigerians, some countries in Africa are Muslim countries, and that's why I can identify with them. Countries like Senegal is a Muslim country. It's 99% Muslim. Morocco is a Muslim country. Algeria, Mali. These are countries that have a very, very large Muslim population. Algeria, I think I already said Algeria. So that's why I find myself being able to identify with Africans more so than I can Black Americans, the ones that are Muslim or that come from a country that's predominantly Muslim, because they understand my lifestyle, my way of life, and who I am, even more so than someone that's Black American, because they've been exposed to Islam. And I'm gonna wrap this up real quick because I'm out here in the woods and it's creeping me out. Oh yeah, about my series. So, I get questions about my series when I start talking about my series, and people will say, well, are they Black? Is it about Black people? Talking about the characters in the series. Are they Black? Was it about black people? And that's the thing, like, as creators, we have to understand that just because a person is black, they don't have to create everything from a perspective of what you think their black experience is or should be. No, to answer your question, my series is not about a black family. They're not black, they're African, okay? But they're not black Americans, they're Africans, Moroccans to be specific, which is in Africa, so they are Africans, but they're not black Americans. And I just don't understand why their nationality and race is so important and why it even matters, you know? Um, you don't have any friends or people that you're close to that aren't black Americans. You don't have any friends from other countries. Y'all don't have things in common with people that are from other religions and other countries. Like, black people, open your mind, you know? Black people and Americans in general, but specifically black people in America. Open your mind, okay? For once in a while, and understand that even though America, we get so much attention and we're like the most influential, nation in the world, everything doesn't have to center around America and my blackness, okay? Because even though, yes, I am black, I am also a Muslim person at the same time. Okay? And when you're a Muslim, you belong to a global family that is bigger than race. Okay? So I can create outside of the realm of just my black Americanness. Okay? Because I'm also a Muslim. And so Islamic culture is also a part of my culture. And guess what? Islamic culture is global because there's 1 billion Muslims on this planet from all different continents. Africa, Asia, the Middle East, America. So, we don't always have to, once again, I was saying about everything doesn't have to fall under this great big old black umbrella 24/7. Okay, a lot of these writers in Hollywood and producers, some of them even create some of these black shows, and they're not even black, they're white. And they're writing scripts and creating these stories about black families and the black experience, and they're not even black. So why can't I, as a Muslim person, create into the realm of a Muslim family, whether they're American or not? Is still a part of who I am and a part of my experience as a human being because I'm Muslim, you know? Yeah, and like I was saying about being a part of a global family, mosquitoes is tearing my behind up. Yeah, Islam is bigger than race, there's in Islam is about unity. That's what makes Islam make sense to Muslims because we don't have, in Christianity, you have a white church, you have a black church, which is two totally different experiences. We all know white church don't praise and worship like a black church. We all know that. And they have all these different denominations in Christianity. You got Methodist, Protestant, Baptist, Episcopalian, this and that. I can't even name all the denominations and sects of Christianity. But in Islam, we don't have that because Islam is about unity. Islam means one. When you see us do this means one God. We all believe and worship the same. If you're Muslim, you're Muslim. There's only one Islam. We don't have all those different denominations. It's only one Sunnah. Sunnah meaning the practice. We all practice the same Islam. It doesn't matter if you're from Philadelphia, Los Angeles, Senegal, Malaysia, North Carolina, Saudi Arabia, the Philippines, Afghanistan, Iraq, Nigeria, Ethiopia, Indonesia, whatever continent you're on in this world, on this planet. If you're a Muslim, you're a Muslim. It doesn't matter the color of your skin. It doesn't matter if you're a billionaire or if you live in the projects in Philadelphia. We all believe and worship the same. So my perspective to create can create a story of any country. If it's Islamic, of any country. Because Islam, our religion is universal. It applies to all. Allah means all. Doesn't matter the color of your skin. So to answer everyone's question, no, the characters in my series, they're not Black Americans, they're Africans. Okay? And we have to understand, you Africans have to understand you're not Americans. Even if you come to this country and apply for citizenship, get a green card, a visa, whatever, you're still not an American. And even though we may look the same and our skin may be the same complexion, we have different cultures and traditions. We talk to Africans all the time. We know the way they brought up isn't like us Americans because we have different traditions, different cultures. It's not about skin color. We have two different nationalities. We're not African, we're Americans. We grow up being raised to think like an American because that's what we are. We don't live and think like Africans because we're not Africans, And, if we did actually come from Africa, does it even matter? When we're here in America now and we've been born and raised in America, our parents, grandparents, and great-grandparents, my family can't be deported back anywhere because we're all Americans. Everybody in my family. I done traced my family tree. My parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, and great-great-grandparents are all natural-born American citizens. And English is their first language, and they were born on American soil, just like myself. And we can never be deported back to any other country because we are natural-born American citizens. So we have no connection to Africa. I have a little more connection and able to identify with some Africans, the ones that are from Muslim countries and the ones that are Muslim. So that is just my message for today. Black Americans and Africans are not the same. People like to act like we're the same, but we're not. We're completely different. We have different cultures, Africans, they tell you, well, we belong to this tribe and that tribe, and we trace back our tribe on our mom's side and that. We don't even have freaking tribes in America. We don't speak the languages of Africa. We speak English. We don't eat the same foods. We don't have the same cultures and traditions. That's why we have no connection to Africa. But yes, my series is based in Africa. The setting is Africa. And the setting is Morocco, and the characters are not Black Americans. I hate to bust anybody's bubble. They're Africans, and they're Muslim, and they're Moroccan. But that doesn't mean you won't enjoy it and you won't be able to relate to it because they're of a different country. You don't have friends that are foreigners? Like, what rock have you people been living under? Am I like the only Muslim person you know of, or you don't even really know me, but that you've like seen or know anything about? Like, I'm gonna need for people to stop being dumb and ignorant. Like, serious people. It's 2024. Like, seriously, I'm really need for people to stop being ignorant. Okay? So yeah, never be ashamed of where you come from. And a lot of foreigners, when they come over here, they think because they're a foreigner, they think everybody else is a foreigner like them. you know? And you ask them, where are you from? And they'll tell you, oh, I'm from Mexico, or I'm from so and so. And they'll ask me, well, where are you from? I said, I'm American. No, but where are your parents from? Your ancestors, your grandparents. My grandparents were born in North Carolina. Their only language they speak is English. The only thing they know is America, North Carolina, and English and American language and culture. Okay? Just because you're an immigrant and a foreigner doesn't mean we are. We're natural born Americans. Okay? So that's all for today. Until next time. Bye-bye.
The black people out here is not from Africa?
They're not from Africa. No black people is from Africa.
They from out here, right?
You guys are literally from out here. Africans don't even want to be claimed with you guys. Like, that is the difference. Africans is totally separate.
Oh, hold on. Where you from?
I'm from Liberia.
From Liberia. And you trying to tell these people that I'm trying to tell them that they're not African.
They're not.
They are already. I don't know why they don't want to hear.
There was black people already here, bro.
Already here, but they want to say.
And it wasn't even Native American, bro. It was just dark.
Right.
Here.
They want to say that I think they love slave boats, bro.
Realize is they migrated.
They love the slave boat. That's what it is.
Yeah.
But tell them again, black people.
Black people is not from Africa.
Say it louder.
But black people is not from Africa.
Black people is not from Africa.
Yeah, and anybody who said they're from Africa, bro, that's some dumb shit. Because Africans don't even fuck with people from here, bro. So,
Period.
Africans can tell you fucking Africans.
Period.